We are going to have to do this again because now I'm recording it. Yeah, you know, it's so true that we have to put ourselves first,
Yeah.
and all the reasons why we don't, right? And just to acknowledge them. You know, we're not going to make a problem of it. I've been studying with this guy, Mark Atkinson, who has really, he's got some really simple practices that have helped cut through my stuff. I'm not allowed to use spiritual platitudes anymore, Anna. So I, whatever I notice, I don't make a problem of it. I smile, soften, sink, and slide. And so if I notice that I'm resistant to something, I don't resist the resistance. I smile, soften, sink, and slide. I was like, oh, I'm resistant to freedom right now. I'm resistant to love right now. Oh, cool. And I am freedom. So one of his practices is, you can say any of the, you know, the higher qualities. I am joy and I am freedom. I am peace and I am freedom. And then if you feel, when you say it, you can oftentimes feel something that's out of resonance. And so you can say, oh, I'm resistance to peace and I am freedom. And that instantly opens it up, and you smile, sink, and soften, slide. And then you're like, I am peace and I am freedom. And it's just so weird that simple practice can cut through what the mental model was that was kind of getting you stuck before. But just noticing where I'm resistant to being power. Like one of them was like, I am power and I am freedom. And when I realized that there were certain situations where I wasn't being power, I was avoiding and I was running and I was being disempowered. And I'm like, ooh, juicy, cool. I'm not going to make a problem of it. I'm going to smile, sink, and soften, slide. And then set the intention to, when I'm in that situation, to do something different, try something different. You know, have an expanded tolerance for discomfort using my breath.
Yeah.
And just acknowledge it. Ooh, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Ooh, okay. Ooh, yeah, I'm noticing the impulse to just avoid this and just get out of Dodge. Okay, cool. Oh wow, this is, you know, and it's like, and then it accelerates whatever the stuff is. And juicy.
Yeah, the only way out is through. Totally. And, you know, I would love to offer, you know, in these wonderful affirmations that you're offering yourself, one that I learned in my rebirthing training that I use to this day is also affirming innocence. You know, especially if any feelings of guilt or shame are coming up. You know, I'm innocent. It is innocent for me to be in this body. It is innocent for me to be having an income right now. It's innocent for whatever it is, especially if there are any old patterns of shame or guilt that keep us locked down. To innocence is a really cue to bring in some of that higher truth, and to combat what in rebirthing we would call a personal lie, which is the highest untruth we hold about ourselves. And, you know, one of the most common personal lies is I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy. Those are two of the most popular. I actually have a list of 60 different personal lies that my teacher gave me. But, you know, coming up against that and then affirming innocence within that, it releases those ties that bind. And it's a beautiful way to begin a new little path or new little rivulet off of that river of thought.
Yeah, that resonates. Every time I talk to you, and it's funny, every time I talk to you, I have rememberings of gifts that you've given me. Aww. There was the softness one, I think the last deep conversation we had around being soft. We were talking about reconnecting with kind of my feminine essence and healing my relationship with my feminine, my divine feminine, and the softness of that and innocence. It's so funny because, you know, I'm sure I've heard that before, but there's something about when you say it, it's like I heard it for the first time. It's like I've never heard that before. I feel like I've never heard that before, and it resonates so deeply, and I can feel it instantly, like the Kundalini energy kind of flowing from it. I'm like, ooh, I know that I'm gonna sit with it later, and I'm gonna want to like stretch and like, oh yeah, I'm innocent. Get all those. I can feel it. Like it just feels like, oh no, the levels from all those years of feeling like I did something wrong. I was wrong. And the guilt and the shame and the little Pammy. Little Pammy.
lovable and wonderful she is. You know, Brene Brown puts it really beautifully. She says, guilt is the thought I did something wrong. Shame is the thought that I am
Yeah.
something wrong.
Yeah, not worthy of love. Yeah.
A really interesting, you know,
Yeah.
doing and being.
Yeah. I am a mistake versus I made a mistake.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Renee. She doesn't know it yet, but we're all really good friends. Like she doesn't know it yet. At some point, we're all gonna be like, do you remember when we didn't know each other? Isn't that so funny that we used to not know each other and now we're like all besties? Like she doesn't even know. It's I don't know, maybe we'll be like 80. I don't know. But at some point, we're all like our people.
Totally. I mean, one of the most beautiful truths I got from a spiritual leader when I was in India, a woman went to him, a member of my group, because she wanted to shave her head as part of spiritual purification. She had this like amazing, long, thick hair, and she also had a very high level corporate job. And she was like, I'm really worried about what they're going to say. And he said, time is an illusion. It doesn't matter when it happens. It just matters that it happens, period. So
Yeah.
whether it's now or 20 years in the future or whenever,
Yeah.
you know,
It
plant
is
that.
so. It is already so.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I love you. Okay, so you're doing your breath, focusing on the inhale, and Marcia. And at some point, you'll meet Sage if you haven't already. I mean, maybe I connected you at some point, but we're all breathing with Sage, and we're breathing, and that's it. That and originally the breath work that I was doing with him was a lot of the holotropic kind of
Yeah.
rebirthing stuff, and now it's kind of morphed a little bit where he's guiding a group and it's music and you just breathe however you want to breathe. And sometimes he'll say, just breathe however, it brings you pleasure. The beautiful thing about the daily breath practice where you're just paying attention to your breath for an hour a day is you're wiring your brain, of course, to be aware of the breath. And so, at least for me, it's been such a gift. The moment that I become aware of any discomfort, I just go back to my breath. And I find spaciousness in my breath to just be there and not make a problem of the fact that I'm uncomfortable. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'm uncomfortable. Okay, my like in imminent danger being attacked by a dog or something falling on me? No. All right. Chill out. see what's coming. Is it me? Is it them? Is it a boundary? Is it an old untruth?
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally, totally. And actually in my book, in like one of the last chapters, I talk about part of my rebirthing training was one of my teachers saying it's uncomfortable and that's okay.
Yeah.
And being like,
Yeah.
wait, huh?
I know.
And I was like, oh crap, right.
I know. And noticing, like I said before, the areas in our life where we have less tolerance.
Yeah.
Which is just bravery, right? Like another way of being like, wait, am I being brave right now? Or am I like, what? And then subconsciously, we don't even realize it until we do. And then once you realize it, you're like, ooh, interesting. So that, oh, that's interesting. Interesting, Pam. What's that about? Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so your process of publishing May 26th.
Is the release date, yes.
Release date. Cool. Well, this is exciting. I mean, it's funny, selfishly, I don't know if I've ever been as excited about a book coming out.
What?
Yeah, no. I mean, I hold you in very, very high regard. I mean, I don't know how I got so lucky that I get to be your friend and get to like talk to you and call you and things. And I'll say that one day about Brene too. I'll be like, I don't know how I got so lucky. Like, I'll hold you on that same level. Because I'm certain that the wisdom is going to be so relevant to my own journey as a woman, as a human. And I do think, sorry, Dad, because you're not a woman, and to all men listening, I went through a long part of my life being like, oh, well, there's really no differences between being a man and a woman. I was raised just to be independent and not rely on a man. And because of that, I actually, like we've talked about, disconnected from a lot of my, divine feminine, because it's easier to feel safe when you're in your masculine. You feel safe when you're in your masculine when you're being productive. I'm really good at being productive, getting things done. As a woman, you feel safe when you're connected. Much harder for me to cultivate real, authentic, safe feeling connection in relationship. Yeah. Connection to myself and connection to others. And so I'm not as good at, connecting to the feminine. And then all the stuff around, a woman feels worthy when we're pretty and attractive, but then that same prettiness and attraction ends up being the source of so much insecurity and attack. Like, I don't think most men, I had this conversation yesterday with my husband, that I don't think he realizes the number of times that, like someone would give you a hug and they'd like lick your ear and be like, Julio, what was that? And like, did that really happen? Then you like think you're crazy, or someone grabs your ass, or you're like, wait, and you're like, wait, this is someone that I thought was just a friend, and did that and then you don't know if you're crazy or if that just happened, and it's just so unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
just gets shut down, and that's something I'm working on, and I'm certain your book is going to be incredibly.
I go right there. I
I'm
like,
certain you do. I'm certain you do. I'm really excited.
oh, I'm so excited for you to read it. I mean, all of the stuff that you're talking about, like this is, I was telling some friends, this is the most, as somebody who has been performing burlesque for 14 years, and, there are pictures of me on the internet where I am wearing literally 2 square inches of fabric to keep me on this side of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And yet this is the most naked I have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got into breath work because of my anxiety was so bad, and I wouldn't breathe. And I had a lot of, like, I had an eating disorder for many years. I mean, I really put myself through the ringer in a lot of ways. And coming into breath work was like, oh, I can just keep coming back to my breath. That is going to fuel whatever comes next, come what may.
Mm-hmm.
But then the process of finalizing this book, of the last pass with the copy editor, and going to layout and like rereading every single word, I was waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning with like fireworks in my stomach and like racing thoughts, and so terrified of other people's thoughts, other people's opinions. And I talk about this in the book because I think I mean, I'm writing about what I know, and I say that very clearly. It's like, I'm, a light-skinned woman who is always identified as a woman. I can only speak about what my journey has been. But I think that there are going to be, those common human ties, whereas the details might not match. Hopefully, you can recognize some of the essence that's underlying all of it. But, coming into the deeper awareness, certainly of like worth in the body, and like I grew up in a very wealthy area outside of New York City, a small place called Tuxedo Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mention it by name in the book to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Yeah.
But growing up there, it was a very skewed way to grow up. It was a blessed, privileged, exceptional. I thought everybody had 4 bathrooms in their house. I didn't know any differently. And both my parents, my father did exceptionally well for himself, but both of my parents were raised, very much like at like base income level. Like they weren't raised rich, basically. And so here we were in this like amazingly wealthy community. And so I remember, all the cocktail parties at the poolside growing up, and like all the beautiful moms and all the handsome dads and all the kids and all the new siblings. And then, years would go by, and suddenly, I would hear things like, oh, so-and-so Mrs. X, got fat. So, a new woman came in. Or like, where did she go? Oh, the husband decided to date somebody else. I just kept thinking, I was like, well, where are all the moms going? Like, who are these like young women coming in who I don't know? I mean, no, nothing on them, but like, what's happening? And there was this underlying sense of, oh, that woman, they got divorced because she got fat, or she, like, their sex life had gone downhill, or whatever it was. And to my, 5, 6, 7-year-old brain, I couldn't understand that. And to me, it's just seemed so bizarre, because these women were so wonderful and were such great moms to their kids. And then suddenly they were just like kicked to the curb. Again, this is to my eyes. I didn't know what else.
Yeah, of course.
But I started to get that programming of, I am only as valuable or as wanted as I am attractive.
Yeah.
I learned to, put on the mask and, like, be the good daughter and, laugh at all the nasty sexist jokes.
Please.
Exactly. Please. And like, don't leave any ripples, just be like a gorgeous work of art, present. And it decimated me. I mean, I thought on a level like, oh, I'm ticking all the boxes. Oh, good. I'm being a good girl. But it was just like this chasm was opening up inside of me. And I was just like, but who am I? Like,
Yeah.
anytime I would speak up, for anybody out there who is into astrology, I'm a Sagittarius. I tend to tell the truth very quickly. And I would blurt out stuff because I would feel comfortable and safe. And I would immediately get shut down, or I'd be shamed, or I'd be judged. And I was like, whoa, this is not safe. Like, I do
Yeah.
not understand what's going on. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to stay behind this mask and like be cutesy and everything. And then I'm going to run for the hills.
Mhm.
And that's what I grew up with. And it wasn't until getting into my 20s and everything that I started to sort of more actively question that. And
Yeah.
then certainly once I was in my 30s, certainly once I was in my 40s, it was just like, okay, hold up, like stop the presses. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, if I am here to offer the gifts that I have been given, how about I get the hell out of my own way, set all of this limiting belief down so that I can show up and challenge with a full heart.
Yeah.
So
Yes to all of that. You are divine. Well, I want to be sensitive to everyone's time. And Marcia, I don't know if you have any questions. Dad, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and join in the conversation, because there's so much we could talk about. I mean, Anna is a wealth of information and all kinds of healing modalities. I mean, that you shared, and I wanted to ask you permission if it's okay for me to share the video that you shared. That was the personal kind of acupressure
yeah.
yen stretch thing. It was like a 25-minute
Mm-hmm.
series where you like bang to your head and you bang, and I did it. I did it. It's so good.
Yeah, please. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome to do that for
Well,
sure.
you're so diverse in the gifts that you share. I mean, it really, and that's one of the things I like about you too. You're kind of a generalist. You know a lot about a lot, and
And
then you show up with whatever happens to be the right tool for any particular situation. Might be oils, might be crystals, might be massage, might be
exactly.
breath.
I actually wanted to ask something. So when you had that vision, right, to become like a burlesque dancer, when you started to do it, how was it? Did you feel like discomfort, like afraid of being judged and all that?
The first time I got on stage was very unexpected. I had attended a class, and again, by divine providence, there was an amateur show afterwards, and I guess everybody had dropped out but two people, and everybody who had attended the class beforehand was sitting there, and me and my burlesque friend Tori had gotten a drink. We were just sitting there, and the producer came around to our table and said, "We need performers. Can you get up on stage and do an act?" And Tori was like, "Oh no." Mm-mm. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I remember Tori looking at me, she'd be like, "You want to get on stage, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah, and I've kind of been practicing something, but And she's like, "Well, what do you need?" And I was like, "I need pasties and a trench coat." And
I love you.
opened up her bag and pulled out pasties and a trench coat. And I was like, pardon my
What are the
French,
chances?
motherfucker, I have to get like, God damn it. And
You
I
did
got
it.
on stage and I screwed up so badly. I stopped listening to the music. I forgot my choreography. I tried to do a tassel twirl, which is not recommended if you've never really seriously practiced it before.
I don't know what that is.
Judges, like, this was a judged competition, and two of the women were really lovely. The third one was really snarky and really unsupportive, but people came up to me afterwards, they were like, "Girl, you killed it." And for as much as I was like, "Oh my God, I just screwed up, oh my God, oh my God," I felt like every cell in my body it was just full of light. And I didn't sleep that night. I remember lying in bed just like with my eyes open, just staring at the ceiling and being like, what on earth has just happened? Like, whatever this is a yes. And so I realized what I needed to do was practice and practice and practice so that I would feel comfortable on stage, because it's really easy when you've come up with choreography in front of a mirror to get in front of an audience and suddenly be like, oh, there's like 35 people or 150 people staring at me. And the music starts and I was like, well, that's my cue. I better get going. And so in the sense of like getting out of my own way, it was a process, to answer your question, really. I mean, just to learn to get out of my own head. And, I say this in my classes, I teach burlesque now. I always say the audience is only going to see what you show them. So if you get on stage and you're not making eye contact, you have a hand over your stomach, which is body language for "I don't feel safe." If you're, hunching, anything like that, basically hiding your light, the audience is going to start to feel uncomfortable, because there's that instant sort of experience of the present moment, where if I go out there and I'm like, come what may, I know my choreography, I'm going to do this. there's live entertainment. You never know what's going to happen. I was performing at Joe's Pub in New York City, which is like an amazing center for art and everything. And my music cut out and like wouldn't start again. And like the whole place was dead silent watching me. And I was like, so I just said, live entertainment, everybody. And it was an X-Files show. I was performing as Fox Mulder, and somebody literally like pulled up the X-Files theme on her phone and started playing it like into the microphone. And I just finished like ad lib, like I was like, hey, you know what, everybody, we're in this all together by ourselves. So I'm just going to do what I can with what I got. And really just having a sense of humor. Like, you know, if something drops on stage, the audience has seen it. So it's that golden rule of improv. Yes. And it's like the radical acceptance of what just happened. Okay. So there goes my huge reveal that went like blew up a minute into my act. And what do I choose to do now?
Yeah. Yes. And it's like my favorite is.
Yes. And.
Yes. And.
I just hope I answered Marcia's question.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions, guys? Well, listen, I love you to the moon. I am so grateful. I would love to do this more as we get closer to the book launch. Any way that I can help you, I can't wait. I already pre-ordered. If I didn't, it's in my cart because I definitely started the process. I do that. And I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited for the world, because the more you that's out in the world will be a better place. And I'm so, so grateful.
Thank you, Kim. I'm grateful to you too. I love you. And yes, please. Let's keep doing
Yes,
this.
please. We'll do that. Marcia, Dad, always a pleasure. I love you guys. Thanks again. I'll talk soon. Proud of you.
Bye.